Once again, I started recording and I didn't turn off the stream in the background. I'll be right back. Hey y'all. So I might have fucked around and cut my bangs. I didn't film the process. I was actually going to, but then I was thinking if I did something really bad and I fucked up my life, which I kind of did, I didn't want any evidence of it. Originally, I was gonna give myself like actual bangs, but then I changed my mind. So if I move this like one piece, you can see how short they actually are. I had something going. I had a plan and then I just changed my mind halfway through. So this piece is here to mask how short they are. I don't think they would have looked that bad if I kept going with it, but yeah, I changed my mind. I wasn't working over the last couple days. I've just been bored in my apartment, so I just cut my fucking hair. Also, another thing about my appearance, I don't know why I want to talk about this stuff. Do you guys ever get to the point where you hate the way that you look with makeup? Obviously, I'm wearing makeup right now. I have like full face makeup and then I just did mascara and my eyebrows. But for some reason, every time I try to do like a full face of makeup with like the eyelashes, the eyeshadow, everything, I hate the way that it looks. Like yesterday I did my makeup and the guy came to fix my window like right when I was done finishing it. And so I let him in, he fixed the window, whatever. And then as soon as he left, I went into the bathroom and I saw myself and I was like, I look like a crack whore. Like I just hate the way that I look with makeup on right now. I don't know why, which sucks because I like makeup, but I'm just like, every time I do it, I'm like, ugh. So we're just going with the natural makeup recently, but I'm into it, so I like it. I got a whole new look with my bangs and my no makeup. But hello little boogers, I have another scary story for you guys. This is actually a story from Tia, and I'm really excited to read this one. I'm excited to read every story that I get, but I'm even more excited to read this one because the title just really draws me in. Thank you, Tia, for sending me another story. You guys, Tia is absolutely amazing. If you don't know who she is, she sends me a lot of stories on my channel. She's also sent me like a million gifts. I have so many videos dedicated to this woman. I will have all of her information linked down below. I'll have her books linked down below. You guys should totally buy them. They're amazing. If you guys like this story, it's totally worth it because all of her stories are just as amazing. But let's get into it. Also, I backed up today so that I could literally rest on this because that's how lazy I am. I want something to lean on. Lean on me. Oh my god, I was like, I just heard something. They heard my singing and they were like, no, not today. But this story is called I Woke Up During My Funeral. It all happened around 8 years ago, they've told me. 8 years ago, I became different. I wasn't myself. I didn't remember things that happened only days before. I had to be reminded of childhood memories and what I did for work. Everyone thought it was because of how wasted I got on that night. They assumed it was alcohol-induced amnesia, and apparently it was only temporary because I was back to my old self within a month. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember anything. 8 years ago, almost 9 now, I was at a Halloween party with a couple of buddies of mine from college. We hadn't hung out in years, so there was a lot of catching up to do. My girlfriend at the time, Renee, was supposed to come with me, but she wasn't feeling well that night, so I decided to go alone. The party had started at 7, and by 10:30, most of the people had filtered out. This left me and my buddies by ourselves. The night's still young, Todd proclaimed, as he poured himself another shot of whiskey. Yeah, the party doesn't have to be over. We can make our own fun, like old times, I said, agreeing with Todd. Like what, Ricky? Ryan asked, as he sat down next to me. He raised his eyebrows curiously as he took a swig from his beer. Like let's do some creepy shit, Paul spoke up now from across the room, returning after spilling his guts in the bathroom. He could never hold his liquor, but that didn't stop him. Todd slammed his shot glass down and nodded his head in approval at Paul's idea. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Andrew said, patting Paul's back. I think I have the perfect idea for that. Todd walked past us and over to the closet before opening and rummaging through it. A couple seconds later, he brought out the Ouija board. All throughout college, we messed with that thing. When we were drunk, when we wanted to scare the shit out of our girlfriends, or when we wanted to scare the shit out of each other. We hadn't used it in years, yet I still felt the same rush of excitement when Todd laid it out on the coffee table. We all looked around at one another, forming a circle around the table. Of course, you would think this is how a horror movie would start. 5 friends in their late 20s, drunk and have nothing better to do on a Friday night, but we've done this plenty of times before. We all carefully placed 2 fingers on the planchette before moving it around in a counterclockwise motion. Then, one by one, we each began to ask questions. Are there any spirits here who would like to communicate with us? Ryan was first. Nothing happened for a while, and Paul eventually repeated Ryan's question. Are there any spirits who would like to communicate with us? Yes. We all shared knowing glances before proceeding. The fun would now begin. What's your name? Todd asked. No answer. Andrew went next. Are you a male or a female spirit? Female. I swear you could feel the testosterone boost in the room. Though we all had girlfriends, we still wanted to have a bit of fun. What colored panties are you wearing? Todd asked again, wiggling his eyebrows suggestively. Goodbye. We all groaned in annoyance before Paul elbowed Todd in the ribs. Ow. You made her leave. You can't just come right out and ask a spirit that. You have to lead up to it. She probably won't come back now. All right. Let's try again. We continued for another hour, talking with 2 more spirits before I received a text from Renee asking me to come home early to take our dog out for his nightly walk. Hey guys, I gotta go soon. Renee's pretty sick and I gotta take Major out for his walk before he starts pissing all over the place, I said while tucking my phone back into my pocket. Oh, dude, you can't leave yet. The spirits are just starting to warm up to us, Andrew exclaimed, a form frowning on his face. Yeah, just stay for one more. It'll be quick, Ryan said, him and Andrew both pulling sad faces. Fine, but just one more. I scooted myself closer to the table and joined in, putting 2 of my fingers on the planchette before we began. Are there any spirits who'd like to communicate with us? I asked, starting the session. Yes. What is your name? Lucas. We all took turns asking the spirit different questions. He was the most talkative spirit we ever contacted. We became so invested in the conversation with him. I hadn't realized how much time was passing until I felt my phone vibrating in my pocket. 11 missed calls from Renee. I groaned at my stupidity and showed the guys my phone, still keeping 2 fingers on the planchette as to not break the connection. I'm screwed, I huffed out. Just then, the planchette began to move. Lucas was asking a question. Who is Renee? My girlfriend, I answered. She's back at her house and sick at home. She asked me to come home a while ago, but I didn't because we started talking to you. Now she's pissed off at me, and there's no doubt I'm not getting laid for a week. Picture? The guys and I shared a shocked yet curious look. The spirit wanted to see a picture of my girlfriend. We would definitely have to add this to the list of crazy stuff that has happened to us. Sure. I took out my phone, unlocking it before finding a picture of Renee and placing my phone on the table. Renee was a petite girl, around 5'1" and thin, but she was a cheerleading coach and had some muscle tone to her. Her long, straight brown hair hung just past her shoulders, and her honey-colored eyes were lit up with joy, matching her beautiful, dimpled smile. I was definitely a lucky guy. Nice. An uproar of laughter came from all of us as the realization that a spirit found my girlfriend attractive set in. As we were in the middle of our chuckling fit, my phone suddenly went black. I leaned over, still smiling as I touched my home button. My posture became a bit more stiff as I tried the power button. My phone wouldn't turn back on. This was odd because it had just been at 60% battery life. Lucas, did you drain my battery? I asked, remembering that spirits will sometimes drain energy from people or electronics to energize themselves. In return, I received no response. My phone's dead, I said, turning to Andrew, who sat right in front of me. He tried turning it on to no avail. My phone ended up being passed around to all of us as we tried to revive it. Nothing worked. I was the only one who had an iPhone at the time, and I'd forgotten my charger at home. Did you drain Richard's phone, Lucas? Paul asked as he handed my phone back to me. Maybe. Not cool, dude. Renee's definitely gonna kill Richard now. Good. That definitely pushed some common sense back into me. Good? Did the spirit have something against me? Good? What the hell, man? You have a problem with Richard? Todd was definitely the more confrontational one of the group. All of us? You have a problem with all of us? Yes. Okay, guys, I think we should end this now. We don't know who we're talking to and Richard needs to get home, Ryan said as he urged us to help him move the planchette. And this is the crazy thing. We couldn't move it. We literally could not move it. It was like somebody was putting all of their weight on it, so we couldn't move it across the board. We were all pushing on it and even used both hands to try to bring it to goodbye. The planchette wouldn't budge. I really don't like this, you guys. Something isn't right, Ryan stated as he took his hands off the planchette. Andrew and Todd did the same. Paul looked at me for a moment before following along with the others. I hesitated. One of the biggest rules for playing the Ouija board is to never remove your hands from the planchette. Come on, Richard, it's not moving. We can just pack the board away as is. Andrew took hold of my hands and removed them from the planchette before I had time to respond. The moment my fingertips left its surface, the planchette flew across the board and fell off the table. When it hit the tile floor, the room immediately became at least 20 degrees cooler, causing goosebumps to snake up my arm. What the hell just happened? Paul asked, standing up and moving next to me. Richard, are you okay? I looked at Ryan as he too moved closer to me. I hadn't realized how odd I felt until I tried to answer, and I couldn't. No sound would move past my lips. Worry set in, and I attempted to stand up. However, a large force seemed to be pushing me down by the shoulders, keeping me on the couch. A strong amount of pain began to emanate from behind my eyes. These are my last memories before everything went to black. Next thing I knew, I was staring at the ceiling of a church. My hands were folded together over my stomach, and I was in a suit. I heard someone talking through a speaker with soft cries in the background. That's when I sat up to get a better look of what was going on. Screaming and gasps met my ears, and I had to cover them out of shock. There were rows upon rows of people sitting in front of me, wearing nothing but black clothing. All eyes were on me. And that's when I noticed. I was in a coffin. This was a funeral, my funeral, and I had just woken up in the middle of it. How had I forgotten where I was? Why was my funeral filled with so many people I didn't recognize? All of these questions would be answered and more, but not without months of therapy and piecing everything together myself. After it registered what I'd just woken up to, I searched the crowd of mourners for any familiar faces. The only one I could find was my mother. Without hesitation, I jumped out of the casket and ran up to hug her frozen form. It took a few seconds before she returned my embrace, wrapping her arms around me tightly as if she were afraid I'd disappear at any moment. Growing up, she was the only one I ran to for comfort. Even at 29 years old, I still ran to her. We had only been hugging for a moment or two before I felt 3 other bodies touch mine, clasping to my shirt in desperation. I released my mother to then see who it was. I was met with the faces of 2 small children, a boy and a girl, and a grown woman kneeling down next to them. The woman had long dark hair, tied back into a high pony. Her chocolate eyes were bloodshot and puffy, an obvious sign that she had been crying. The young boy and girl had the same color hair as the woman, as well as the same olive skin tone. It occurred to me that they were siblings, and this woman was their mother. After I looked these strangers over and then back at my mother for validation of their identities, the woman spoke in a hoarse voice. Are you really here with us? I'm not just dreaming? Her voice cracked at the end, struggling to hold in a sob. Yes. I wasn't really sure how to respond. I had no idea who this woman was. Patty, it's a miracle, the woman said, looking over at my mother before returning her glossy gaze back to me and pulling me close, her arms entangling themselves around my neck. My eyes widened in surprise, and I again looked to my mother in confusion. Her facial expression mimicked mine, but not towards the woman, towards me. Ricky, you don't recognize your wife? My what? That day was the worst day of my life. After the bombshell my mother had dropped on me, I began to freak out and ended up locking myself in the church bathroom. My wife? I wasn't married. I didn't even know who that woman was. Plus, I was already in a relationship with Renee. Had I gotten too drunk at the party? Did I marry the woman on a drunken whim? Questions began to flood my mind. How had I died? Why did I wake up? What in the hell is going on? I sat down on the bathroom floor, hugging my legs to my chest as I tried to slow my breathing. Things wouldn't get better if I was thrown into a panic attack. Ricky, are you in there? My mom knocked on the bathroom door before opening it a crack to see me in the corner. Oh, honey. She sighed and moved to kneel down in front of me. That's when I was finally able to look at her and absorb her physical appearance. Her blonde hair was shorter and graying quite a bit. Wrinkles were painted around her blue eyes and on her forehead. Her reading glasses hung by her neck. She looked so much different to when I had visited her and my dad a few days before. It looked like she had aged 5 or 6 years. Mom, what's happening to me? I don't understand what's going on, I cried, running a hand through my hair nervously. Honey, it's all right. Just breathe and calm down. I did as she said once I realized I was panicking again and moved to be in her arms. Like I said before, she always knew how to keep me calm. Ricky, I know this must be very confusing right now, and it's okay. We're gonna get through this. She cooed as she held my head against her shoulder. Mom, I don't know what's going on. What happened? How did I get here? I felt my mother pause at my question, debating on how to provide me with an answer that wouldn't floor my anxiety. Honey, I'm not really sure how to tell you this. My mother leaned back so she could look at me. Her eyes held so much sadness. But you got into a car accident last week after dropping Hunter and Rachel off at school. I'd gotten into a car accident? How did I not remember this? Who were Hunter and Rachel? A car accident? I don't remember any of it, I confessed, shaking my head. Who's Hunter? Who's Rachel? My mother's eyebrows furrowed in confusion then, giving me a look over. She hesitated before saying, Ricky, I think you're suffering from some amnesia. What are you talking about? Hunter and Rachel are your kids. My mouth went dry at what my mother had just told me. Kids? I don't have children. I would have remembered something like that. I ripped myself away from my mother, standing up and leaning back against the bathroom wall for support. Really, I was just trying not to pass out. What? Me and Renee don't have kids. Ricky, my mother slowly stood up, her palms facing me. What year is it? 2008, I answered, wondering why she would ask such a ridiculous question. Honey, It's 2016. All I can remember hearing is a gasp from my mother before I met the tile floor. And I'm gonna be really mean and we're gonna leave it on a cliffhanger. I was not expecting this to be anything paranormal at all. I don't know why, but I'm really excited to see how the Ouija board and stuff ties into the rest of it. Holy shit. Okay, I love when the stories are completely different from what I expect. This is so fucking good so far and I can't wait to finish it, but we're not doing it today. Again, I will have all of Tia's information down below. If there's any stories that you guys want me to read, please send them to me. I'll have the rest of the story up next weekend, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Honestly, the main reason I'm ending is because one, my throat hurts really bad to the point where like I have to stop every 2 seconds to drink water. And two, I'm pretty sure they're about to start leaf blowing outside because I always film at the worst times. So now we both just get to suffer pretty much. But I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh shit, I just kicked the shit out of my tripod. I hate when I do that. Also, you know my throat is suffering when I have to literally go get a water bottle because soda just doesn't do it anymore. I've said that before though, but that's okay. Also, I'm pretty sure 400 people went in and out of the little like gate below me, which is so frustrating because then I have to like figure out where I can start reading again because I don't want this loud crash in the background. This is what I'm talking about. I just don't know I don't know what's happening. Like my neighbors were never this bad before. I'm pretty sure new people moved in upstairs and they have 400 kids because literally there's kids screaming 24/7 outside. It's so frustrating. Like at midnight, like very late. Like last night, there's kids just like screaming and running around and then I hear them like running up the stairs, running down the hallway, running up. I'm pretty sure they live above me. And I cannot do it anymore. I broke my window once. I'm about to break it again. All right, see ya.